Hello and welcome to a Smurd P video. And first I wanted to say thank you to everybody that's stuck by me in terms of watching these week to week as they've been coming out. Well, I've had them as I've been releasing them week by week, building up the Megazord. This is the final video and we are finally going to see it all come together, and this is what it's all about. So anyway, Triceratops, Combinable Dinozord from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reignition Playmates line. Wow, that was a mouthful. There we go. Missile firing action. Yeah, all the Zords. Lovely bio there, which I read on that first video. There's the Megazord, wrongly transformed as always. Let's get the Triceratops out and have a closer look. Okay, here is Triceratops out of the packaging, and you can see from the back, I've put the Blue Ranger on top of the missile. Probably not the best place unless you want to get fired with that missile, but just to show you the little scale between them, I think the little the little figures are a nice surprise with these. And if I was a child again, they certainly would have been things that I would have played with alongside these. So without ado, let's have a look at the Triceratops. So this is pretty much all solid. There's no rollability there, which a tad bit disappointed, but you know what you expect. I feel like once again with the Triceratops, it's a great gimmick. I like the fact you can turn it like that. It's a great gimmick. However, when you transform it into that Megazord mode, which we will see at the end of this video, I feel like that is going to look a little bit odd. Why they couldn't have given us two pieces, just because that Megazord mode, it would have just made it look 10 times better. And I feel like this, I could almost say that this is one of the best Megazords that we've got. I certainly feel that way right now. I think it's the size certainly sells it for me. Nice there, nice. I like the antlers. I feel like that's nice done. It would have been cool if the mouth opened. Once again, a little thing would have made this one of the best Zords stroke Megazords ever. So there we go. Just in terms of the missile. Oh, well, I was trying to contain that, but it's gone firing wherever underneath my table. So that's always good to have. So there we go. So you can move this around. So you can have it like that, and then you can have it like that. Nice ratchet in there, and then we'll just put that back in there. Oh, so you can see what I mean. It just becomes invisible. There we go. So let's bring in the Zap Megazord Triceratops, and actually, I mean, this is bulkier, but there isn't that great big difference. The fact that these pieces come out and then they go in, I think is very, very cool. I always felt like that was really pretty darn decent. You're not going to come out now, are you? Yeah. When I try and do a comparison, yeah, I should have done that bit last. Anyway, and then this is the piece. This is what I'm talking about. If it had been like this, like two of those, that would have looked spot on. But there's no articulation on this, whereas you can ratchet that to be a little bit different. But then again, does it really matter? And then you've got the mouse piece, and I'm really sorry, I keep knocking my camera. Really sorry. The mouth closes like so, and you've got more articulation there. So there we go. So obviously in terms of oh my god, I can't get that sorry. I will put this in tank mode, but obviously leg mode is very, very simple. It sits like that quite nicely. So I'm just going to bring in Blue Ranger, and then we are going to do the tank. So here is Lightning Collection Remastered Blue Ranger. So you can see a difference in terms of height. Sits quite nicely there. And I will bring him in towards the end, because obviously we're going to have the Megazord in Megazord mode. So I just want to show the comparison of that. And now here is a very, very happy moment. If it doesn't come apart or go terribly wrong. There we go. We're already out of screen because it's that big. There we go. And then try and turn this around. So there is a peg there. I'm going that down. And then we're going to gently, he says, push that in like so. And there we go. There is the battle tank, as it's called. And I think it looks absolutely phenomenal. I think they've done an incredible job. You start looking at it, you start realizing this looks absolutely massive. You know, you don't necessarily have to have these blast effects in there, but I think they do an incredible job as well. I think they just give you something to fire or mess around with. And we got to remember, this is made for a child. You know, constantly new fans are finding Power Rangers. Probably through their parents, to be honest with you. But, you know, it is what it is. And look, if there are children that are happy, I would have been happy with this as my Megazord as a child. I really would have loved it. It would have, you know, made my whole life to have this as my Megazord. I'm still happy with the one that I got back in the day. I don't think I got it straight away. I think I got it a little bit later, but I did eventually get it. I think I got the Megazord much earlier. But it's nice to see this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the Zap battle tank as well, so we can have a look at that. And then I'm going to do the transformation, which could be, it will either go well or be disastrous. Put it that way. So here is the Zap Megazord against the new Playmates one. So you can see there is a complete difference in terms of size. Now, the difference is this is a lot simpler. And it doesn't have as much, I guess, premium look on it in terms of the colors, the material used. So from that perspective, this does always win. However, I think in its own right, this is pretty darn awesome. I mean, once again, once I saw the size of it in shops, I then wanted it because I thought, now that's a proper sized Megazord, and it looks really robust. And I will show them together when we get to the end, because the other biggest difference between them will obviously be articulation. Now, this is going to be interesting. This, like I said, this is either going to go well or it's going to be disastrous. If my camera decides to stay where it's going to stay, that will always help. So let's give this a go, eh? Like I said, disaster waits us all. So we'll take that off. That's nice and easy. And then we start it back. Very simple. Prod that into place. We also take these. I would take the blast effects off because I feel like that does not work in Megazord mode, and I think it would look a bit weird. It's like when with the pterodactyl, they wanted you to have that in. And then the hand, very nice and easy. Once again, very nice and easy. Just flicks around just like the original toy. And it's very simple. Very straightforward. Now that's as far as I'm going to go. There we go. Right. Megazord sequence has been activated. Yeah, that's... There we go. Right. No, that's not going to work, is it? Okay, now I can focus on the top area. So, last few steps are very, very simple. Pterodactyl to place. And then similar to the original toy, just a little plug in there. Nice and simple. I do worry about these feet. Even though it's solid, I feel like they move a lot. And just finish it up. The proper way to transform your Megazord is to have those up there. Not like what it says in the picture. And then you swivel that around. And that looks absolutely huge. So you can bring in the Mastodon's head as the shield. And then the power sword as well. And then just shove that in. So we just have a little bit of articulation, but not really. You know, nothing on the hands. You know, you got to be careful with these pieces down here. Like I said, But that is a very, very solid piece of Megazord. I think they've done a tremendous job. Let me just bring in Billy, who looks now really, really tiny compared to that. So that is definitely definitely decent, because that's what you want. You want your figures being little, and then you know, you just put him up there. Look how tiny he is. He's really, really small. Now, you can add these in here, if I can actually put it in there. But it adds no value to it. So I just wanted to do that as well. And then I will just quickly do a little close-up with the camera. But, let's now bring in, well, baby Megazord. You know, what, that. So there is a big difference, and you are probably getting this for what I deem as quality. You got the articulation, so you can move him, but however, he feels a little bit fragile now compared to the solid piece to his right. So there we go. So the other thing that I've mentioned numerous times is down here, these little points here, they just become invisible, which is a little bit disappointing. So I'm just going to take my camera off, and we can have a little closer look at some of the features and how it comes together. In particular, let's have a look at that head sculpt. That just, it does look really, really nice. Very, very simple. I mean, they could have painted the little piece in there, but I think they've got the main portion of this figure correct. The Power Sword, I think, is actually a decent size. I think when I first got it, I was worried about the size of it, but I think they've done an incredible job, and I think it does actually suit it. So there is our first reignition Zord. So we can only hope. I think if they carry on with Zords like this, I think they could deliver really well. It's whether they can deliver something with figures. I mean, they've literally called it Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, so they've kind of got themselves stuck now. So it will be interesting to see how they brand out. I really don't understand how Hasbro cannot work with Playmates in terms of the collection line and say, look, this is the designs, this is what we're delivering. Because even if Playmates, I think, delivered those really well and got what we were waiting for back on track, I think, you know, and they don't oversell it, you know, they don't do a ridiculous amount. I think they could make that work, but whether that happens or not is another thing. You know, it appears that line is dead, which is very disappointing, because I loved that line. That line was freaking amazing. So anyway, but Ignition's Megazords are in. I like this. This is a pretty meaty Megazord. He looks awesome. He looks solid, and you know, if you're giving this for your kids, you know, they're going to be happy with this. Mechanical dinosaurs to play with, you know, happy days. If you can get them off their tablet, of course. So, there we go. I think I've showed you everything that I intended to. Hope you like my video. If you do, please do subscribe to my channel. Make sure you look after yourself. Thank you to everybody that subscribed to my channel already. And embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.